Like I knew what I wanted. The issue was not that I didn't know what I wanted. The issue was that, well, I get what I want. And so my issue was less that I didn't walk in there. I knew what I wanted. I just had to concede a lot. It was a series of concessions, consistent concessions I had to make because what I wanted I couldn't get fully. So that's why for me, even when I watch it, I just see what I wanted to do, what I couldn't do because of time, because of restrictions, because of COVID, because we did this in COVID. So, and so we didn't rehearse. Like, and really, this would have been something I would have wanted to like rehearse with all the actors, almost like a play. So to get the dialogue down, to get the rhythm down, I would have wanted for us to like have like a day or two of just like rehearsal. But nope, got there, had to do it there. They're like a table read, and that was it. So that was, I just had to trust that the actors could do their thing, and then I can figure out what to get to get what we can get out of it. And that happened, man. And that happened. So for me, it was more about conceding as opposed to not knowing what I wanted.
I think for me as well, like having to produce this and wanting him to have, you know, access to everything that he wants and everything that he needs, it was difficult for me because I used to have to, I had to be the bearer of bad news in certain situations, you know, but at the same time, I think us coming from where we come from, we're used to operating in certain ways, and we approached it with the energy of like, regardless of what happens, we got to get this done, and it's going to get done. You know what I mean? And I think kudos to him because he even pushed me in ways where I'm like, you sure you don't want to do this like 2 weeks? And he's like, no, we got to do this now. And it's like we both understood that, you know, and to be able to look across, you know, the line from you as a creative, you know, everybody doesn't look at producers as, you know, certain directors will look at a producer and be like, all right, this is the guy that's going to tell me no. But for him to realize that I had his back and vice versa, and we could actually do this, and then for it to, you know, get us this far to Sundance from, we had a lot of things, man. Our colorist, the original colorist we had got into a car accident. So we had to change colorists at the last minute. We couldn't find the kid. Shout out to Mr. Thomas and his son Steven, who came through at the last minute.
And was a better choice anyways. And was a better choice, honestly. And was a much better choice than the option we had before. You know what I'm saying? So it's just one of the things like God knew what was up. Doors were closed.
Out of those no's, we got something beautiful, you know?
Yeah.
And I think those no's actually ended up working in our favor just because we stuck to the course.
COVID was a big challenge because it was during COVID, and it was like at the height of it where like all types of restrictions were in place, right? And so that led to us not rehearsing, that led to big budget increases. Like those things were like a problem. And it just made everything, it took time, just took so much time, man. You know what I'm saying? So for me, that was a huge thing. Really also, it was in my backyard. It shot in my backyard and my neighbor's front yard. And because of that, I feel like there's a level of anxiety I had about it that was difficult, that was kind of difficult to push through. Like I probably won't ever do that again. But is what needed to happen at the time, and I'm glad that it did, you know. And also just like a general, just keeping it all the way 1,000, just a general like, I was battling like the whole shoot, like, this is a good idea? I shouldn't be directing. This is a bad idea. You know what I'm saying? Like battling my own like self-doubts, but I pushed through a lot. I pushed through a lot of it. It's probably been the most anxiety-provoking thing I've ever done, which is beautiful in a way, because I think you need those pushes. I think you need those times when you come face to face with yourself and like, I'm about to fold. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And I think that I was at that point, like, well, I'm about to fold. This isn't it. You know what I'm saying? Like, this ain't it, right? And to be able to push through it and still make something beautiful, man, is, you know, amazing. So I was really helped, like my DP, Robert Hunter, my indigenous brothers and native, he was, listen, like no way, no how that this happens without him, because of his skill with camera and video design and language and things that I just don't know about. sometimes, most of the time, I should say. And he teaches me. I'm like, let's do this. I'm like, well, are you sure? Like, he'll tell me, like, okay, that makes sense. And so my first AD, Tyree, was, he's a director himself and more experienced than I am at directing, having directed multiple stuff himself. This is like my second short film, but really like my first in terms of the length and the dialogue. Because the first short film I did was like no dialogue. This is like, and this was like genre bending, comedy and trauma, like a bunch of things that were happening. I was trying to combine like comedy, trauma, and like a sense of innocence, you know what I'm saying? Which can be difficult to do, because it's not just dark comedy. It's like a dark comedy with a little bit of childlike innocence flowing through it, right? And that's like a hard thing to like pull off, you know what I'm saying? So I'm like a kid's movie that's in a rated R movie, you know what I'm saying? That's like a rated R kids movie, but also kind of funny. It's that's weird. It's weird, and it's something I'm still learning how to execute. You know what I'm saying? So I can't say I have fully executed it what I want. I'm still learning my own voice in executing it, right? But it's working. I think people can feel it, and it's working. But I know there's still levels to get to in terms of perfecting like what I'm trying to do.
That's interesting. I never knew you felt that way. Like I never knew you felt like the anxiety was hitting in a way. Like I knew you were nervous about it, but I didn't know like you had any self-doubt. But it's interesting because it's almost like in terms of the film, you were Chetty and Paper at the same time. Like it was like, oh, we can do it. No, we can't. You know what I mean? And that's wow.
Yeah,
that's crazy. We had a lot of crazy stuff even happening in the environment. Like it was roosters in the yard next door that just would not stop. It was a mariachi band down the street. At one point, I had to go down the neighbor's house and figure out whose band was rehearsing in the backyard.
Right.
But that just it led into everything. Yeah. And I'm glad you shared that because I didn't even know that myself.
Yeah.